Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is Indy Fanatics, your home for IndyCar content with weekly podcasts and feature videos. Welcome back to another episode of the IndyCar Podcast. And a day later than usual because work is a manic mishmash at the moment. And also, we can't go to an IndyCar race. Well, one, because it's the break at the moment, but also we're in the UK, COVID restrictions, anything. It's still making it difficult, and also I need to probably get out there. But we'll go to Silverstone because F1, is another passion I love. Obviously, in last week's feature video, we kind of were raising the benefits of both F1 and IndyCar. So we'll be at Silverstone this weekend. So there won't be a feature video because I don't have time to get one edited. So we thought we'd leave this one a little bit later in the week so it's not too long a gap before you have to have your next Indy Fanatics video.
Oh, yeah.
We're kind to the people.
But yeah, we ration out your Indy Fanatics needs. Absolutely.
And obviously, when we were planning to do, lots of content for this break, I completely forgot we were going to Silverstone. I'll be honest with you. And then I was like, oh, no, that's happening. And 3 days, yeah, we can't do that in terms of, but this video. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I saw on Twitter, Marcus Ericsson was, he was going, didn't even make the top 5 when he was listening to We Are the Race, their IndyCar podcast and did a top 10 drivers of the season so far. And he didn't even get in the 5 honourable mentions as well as not getting the top 10.
Shocking.
I'll tell you what though. This is justice for Marcus. We've got your back, buddy. So basically we're going to do a top 10 drivers of the season so far. I know we kind of done a mid-season review, but we're going to now, as IndyCar is that driver-focused championship, focus on the kind of real shining lights in the championship so far this season. You can get involved with, obviously, your top 10 picks in the comments down below and give your reasons. And I think we'll give a couple of honourable mentions at the end of the top 10 list.
Yep. Sounds good.
Number 10. Stephen's going to get us kicked off. Who are we kicking off for, Stephen?
We're going to start off, well, we're kind of cheating already. But it won't be Indy Fanatics with about a bit of meddling on the video. We're going 2 people for top on our first one.
Yes. This is in no particular order, by the way.
I was going to say in our 10th spot, but yeah, we're doing no particular order. Just the top 10 performers of the season so far. But we're starting off with 2 people, and that is Jack Harvey and Scott McLaughlin. I'll start with Scott, one of the rookies, moved across from Supercar, so completely different, what's the word?
Driving category or driving style.
Yeah. Obviously, he's had a lot of practice in that Penske car, but racing is a whole different story than practice. And he's performed super well, and most notably his star performance in Texas Race 1, where he completed a 1-2 New Zealand run-out. Kiwi
1-2 boys, go!
He's been mighty impressive. Struggled for consistency, I think, as the season's gone on a bit. He hasn't quite been nailing those top 10s.
But I think it's probably fair to say on that front, isn't it, that Penske as a whole have struggled.
Yes.
And, there have been some good performances from all 4 of the drivers. But, Joseph only got the first win of the season for Team Penske in the last race before this kind of enforced summer break due to the Toronto cancellation.
Exactly. So maybe a bit down to the car and a bit down to his rookie season, of course. Moving on to Jack Harvey. Just really stepped up this year. Start of the season, his qualifying has been absolutely faultless. Did he grab no, he didn't grab. He's been so close to grabbing a podium in quite a few races, but just been not close enough. And then after the 500, seems like the team's been kind of going a bit crazy with their strategy calls. And he's also had a bit of unluckiness with car problems and whatnot. So the results have kind of fallen away since the 500. But he's been having a fantastic season. He's really stepping up.
I think it's fair to say Meyershank have rolled the dice on Jack Harvey's strategy a few times. And unfortunately for Jack, every time it hasn't come in. And also, he's been one of the most unluckiest drivers out there in terms of when he's been in good positions. I think the first race we had at IMS on the road course, he had that puncture, didn't he, after a slow pit stop, which doubly compounded it. In Indy 500 qualifying itself, he had this weird kind of tyre burnout and everything. And then he had like a brake fire at the second Texas race. I think he was on for a podium. Yeah, I believe it was the second Texas race. So yeah, he's had all sorts of mechanical failures, and his teammate, who no surprise will make an appearance later on the list, seems to have got all of Meyershank's luck in one place.
In one race.
Not luck, obviously, because there was a lot of skill to his drive. But, you know, Jack Harvey really could have looked having fortune favour him.
Yeah. Still makes the top 10, though.
Yeah.
Top
Next,
11.
Yeah, we've really stuffed this here. Top 10 sounds more catchy, all right? Stick with us. Colton Herta, another team who have struggled massively, is Andretti Autosport. And Colton has kind of just single-handedly dragged that team forward. And again, a little bit due to Rossi's inconsistency / bad luck within the series so far. Ryan Hunter-Reay is there or thereabouts, but just not really in the top echelons. And Hinch has just had a season to forget on his return to Andretti Autosport. Really not a season how it's wanted it to work out for him. But Colton obviously won the second race of the season at St. Pete after being involved in the first lap incident at Barber with Joseph Newgarden in the first race of the season. You know, the win was the perfect bounce back, and he's looked close in other positions to really challenge for the win, and then suddenly either drops off or the strategy doesn't quite go his way, like a yellow in the Detroit race 2. Yep. I'm trying to think. He looks sure to be chasing down Joseph Newgarden to pass him for the lead, and then that turned into Pato's race and Pato's win. And it's just one of those things that a lot of things could have fallen into place for Colton Herta, but for Andretti this year, just has been one of those years. Again, second year in a row, it hasn't come to play. But Colton's performances, especially in qualifying, some of the speed that he's shown, he has really stood out as one of the drivers of the series, I think.
It's the Herta dream team. Of course, this is his first year with his dad in his box.
Yeah, and they've worked awesome together. Really.
Yeah.
They've been really great together as a team.
Next up is Roman Grosjean, the next rookie that makes the top 10, coming over from Formula One with, how many years did he end up being in Formula One?
I think 10.
10 years of F1 experience at the pinnacle of motorsport. You kind of expect him to maybe take a little while to get adjusted to IndyCar, because it is a big difference. But he's just hit the ground running. He's been absolutely fantastic since the get-go. Notable performance, probably I forgot the IMS road course.
How could you forget his first pole position in the series?
Was that the fourth race in?
I believe it was I think it was the fourth race in, or may have been fifth race in, because I think we had the Texas doubleheader.
Yes.
But it was his third race, because obviously
his
Roman
third race. That's the one.
Hasn't run the ovals to date.
Yes.
Although I think he's running Gateway.
So only in his third race, he secures pole position, couldn't convert it to the win, but held on to an impressive P2. He's just been fantastic all round. There's been some moments where I think he struggled a bit at Detroit on the street circuits, just trying to keep the handling of the IndyCar, because it's completely different to F1 and keeping the pace. But he's very racy. He's shown that at Road America, absolutely sending it left, right and centre. He's bringing the action, and only good things can come from the second half of the season from him.
Yeah, it's great because It means that he brings in European fresh eyes to the IndyCar series. I know we have friends who was like a fan of, well, obviously Racing Reviews, who's been on the channel twice. Once talking about Formula E, and of course another time talking about Roman Grosjean in our Who is Roman Grosjean video. And he's watched every race this season and absolutely loved it. And that's just a kind of little snapshot of what Grosjean's brought. I think Grosjean's brought a lot of eyes to the series. And it's so good to see him, from watching him in F1 as well, loving his racing again, being super racy, super competitive within the series, and falling in love with the series like, you know, us as fans have fallen in love with the series as well. It just shows what a great place IndyCar is as a series.
Yeah.
Next up is the young Dutchman that is Steven's favourite driver. No, that's Max Verstappen. That's F1. But Rinus VeeKay.
He's up there. He's still up there.
VeeKay. Honestly, super impressive. Rookie of the year in his, 2020 season. He just hasn't looked back. And, he broke his collarbone on a bike. And I think that really affected him because, man, he was in the mix. He was in the mix for kind of maybe even a championship within Ed Carpenter. It would have been tough. Absolutely. But he was in the top 5 as his highest position, I believe, so far in the championship standings. Got his first win in the series, the place where he got his first pole position in 2020 at the IMS road course. God, I'll tell you what, it's made a lot of appearances in this episode for them.
Everyone was loving it.
Everyone loves Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who doesn't love the IMS? Just hasn't been the Indy 500 yet. That'll come.
That'll come.
Just luring out that that'll come. And then it never comes, but it will come. But Rinus VeeKay, he's just been brilliant. He's qualifying at the Indy 500. There you go. It'll come. It'll come more in detail as well. But yeah, almost we thought he was going to get pole position, but he started on the front row of the grid. But had definitely one of, if not the overtake of the season at the IMS road course when Jimmy came out the pits. Palou was looking to kind of navigate his way past. They went wide there. VeeKay saw a gap through the middle, went straight through the middle. And yeah, what an overtake that was. Absolutely love it. That's one of my favourite ones. And VeeKay there last year in 2020 was involved in my best wheel-to-wheel action with Colton Herter going through it.
Yeah.
So he just loves getting racy at IMS. And we've got another race coming up there. So I can't wait to see what he does this time. Maybe he'll fly. Fly to victory
He'll
again.
Fly.
I don't know.
Okay, Rocket Rinus.
Rocket Rinus. There you go. Let's get the meme going. But yeah, Rinus VeeKay, look, it's only a matter of time before he ends up in a top team, I think.
Yeah. What do you mean, Ed Carpenter's top team?
Yeah, well, he is making Ed Carpenter a team capable of challenging for race wins. Yeah. He has been absolutely superb.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. So you cannot praise Rinus VeeKay enough. So makes the top 10.
Yep. Now it's time for Justice for Marcus Ericsson.
Justice for Marcus! Justice for the Swedes! Swedes in IndyCar! We have no real connection to Sweden, so I don't know why that is. But you know what? We need to give credit where credit's due. Marcus Ericsson's results have been incredible this year.
It's been fantastic. He has been given the nickname by the American commentators, the Sneaky Swede. Because if you don't know, he's 5th in the championship. He's actually in the championship fight, there or thereabouts.
And actually a fun little stat, and I believe this is correct, and someone will, put me on a stake if I've got this wrong. Bit aggressive. Don't do that. He's 2nd in the championship if just road courses were taken into account.
Well, there we go.
So he's been so strong on the road courses this year.
Incredible. And of course, his main one at Detroit Race 1, where he claimed his first victory in the series. I mean, just talking about Marcus Ericsson, you go, how does he not make someone's top 10 list this year? He's just been incredible. He followed that victory with a podium in
Mid-Ohio last time out.
Yep. It is so difficult to keep a memory of where everything was. But a victory and a podium, it was a bit of fortune, I think everyone can agree, in Detroit Race 1. But he's stuck with Will, and he was hunting Will down at the end, and you never know, he may have even made the move on track if Will Power had continued. So nothing to take away from his performance there. He's been absolutely superb, he's been consistent, and he's loving life in IndyCar.
Some may even say that this season is career-defining for Marcus. Please watch Indy Fanatics video on whether career-defining for Marcus Ericsson and Felix Rosenqvist. God, random plug in a video? Surely not. We're not that shameless. Yes, we are. Yes. No, absolutely we are. But Marcus has been brilliant, and he's finally found his feet in that Chip Ganassi team. And the Chip Ganassi team do, in fairness, look the team to beat. Yep. With obviously Palou and Scott Dixon ahead of him in the championship as well. But you still have to put the car in the performance in an ultra competitive series. And even when he qualifies badly, his recovery races this year have been good. And now when he starts qualifying, because mid-to-high was also his best ever career qualifying position in IndyCar. If he continues that in the second half of the season, he could have a fantastic end to the year, and it'd be interesting to see where he could end up in the championship standings.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But talking about championship positions, and a guy who is the reigning IndyCar champion, Scott Dixon. Now, Scott Dixon just has to make the top 10 because, well, he has achieved a feat that no one in the history of IndyCar, karts, RL, USAC, American open wheel racing is probably the best way of describing it, history has ever done, which is win at least a single race in 19 consecutive seasons. He equaled AJ Foyt last year, and he surpassed him this year when we said Texas was Scott Dixon's stronghold. He's got to win. And he did. He delivered in race 1, and it did for some stage look like he was going to do it in race 2 as well, but it drifted away, and Pato said, no, it will be my time to win. But it's not Pato time yet. So you need to put those arms down.
They were down. Okay, I'm sorry.
They are down. But Scott Dixon does what Scott Dixon does. He just is efficient, and it just feels he's going to have a really strong second half of the season, because I think he just feels a little bit off at the moment. I say second half of the season. We're already in the second half. These last 6 races, the kind of sprint finish to the end. He's going to need at least a couple of victories to be able to get that record-equaling 7th championship.
Yeah, he's been doing a bit of a classic Scott, where he's been finishing, in that top 5 or in that top 10. But with a serious challenge from Palou and Pato, he needs to find a little bit more in these last 6 races.
And one race that really hurt him in his championship bid was Scott Dixon got pole position at the Indy 500, and he looked like he had the car to beat. Now, we were learning in our IndyCar strategy, thankfully from people helping us, that, the leaders tend to pit towards the end of the pit cycle. Well, Stefan Wilson completely stuffed Scott Dixon on that, because Scott ran out of fuel on it, and completely, I think he still managed to get into like a 11th, 12th position finish. I can't remember where he actually ended up at the end of the race. But, Scott was meant to be competing for that Indy 500 race win. And for a second year in a row, a caution just kind of stopped him from having the real stuff. I mean, obviously, the 2021 was a lot closer.
Yeah.
With him in Tacoma. There was still a lot to go. But, yeah, Indy 500, it didn't quite work out for Scott Dixon this year, but he makes the top 10 because he is just doing what Scott does. Even, in the age of 40 now. He just relentlessly has such a high consistency level in his performance. And as always, is brilliant to watch.
One of the best in the world. Still at the top of his game.
Absolutely.
Yes, next up, have I got Elio Castroneves?
You have indeed got Elio
Castroneves. Bam. Of course.
Nice unison.
He's only competed in 1 race so far this season. Has he been confirmed what races he's competing in the last
He's going to definitely be in the Music City GP, and I can't remember the other races after that, but yes.
Yes.
The big one.
But of course, he makes the list purely because he did win the Indy 500. His third?
Fourth. Record equaling
How could
fourth.
I forget?
How could you forget, Stephen?
Oh my God. His fourth time winning the 500. And it was an absolutely incredible drive from him. Like I said, everything went right. Nothing went wrong for Meyershank. And he just drove the wheels off that car.
He gave a masterclass at the Speedway. The guy who won his first Indy 500 at his first attempt of it, all the way back in 2001. Yeah, I mean, he has still got it at the age of, is he 45 or 46 now? He's in his mid-40s. But, man, he looks fit. He looks fighting and raring to go. And if they can get the budget together, I can bet you that Elio will want to, challenge for an entire IndyCar season next year as well.
Yeah, holding off the young gun in Alex Palou. And it was just incredible to see a guy of his age who has never driven for another team, bar Team Penske, just to come in one-off for the 500 and absolutely boss it. It was incredible. Incredible showing from him. Yeah.
And it just made it one of the classic Indy 500s. It's definitely a modern classic, certainly at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And how can you not be happy for Elio? He's just, joy and excitement for racing is just infectious. And he's one of those great characters in the paddock. And when the sad day does come that he fully retires from IndyCar, what a career he has had when it comes to it. But he's not done yet.
It's not done yet.
A record fifth could be on the cards, but very worthy entry into a top 10 list. Next up, Joseph Newgarden. Now, the season started off in the worst possible way for Newgarden, really, with an unforced error that caused a big pile up on lap 1 at Barber, and he's been playing catch up ever since. But, as Joseph does, and the other kind of very consistent driver on the grid other than Scott Dixon, and it's why him and Scott Dixon have shared the championship wins between them for the last 4 years. He just relentlessly keeps working hard at it. Joseph Newgarden doesn't know when to say, I should probably give up. Detroit race 2. Boss the race. Dalton Kellett spins in the pits, forces him to do it, leaves him a sitting duck for Pato at the end, but somehow manages to fight and keep hold of P2 in that race. Road America completely bosses the race and has a issue that Team Penske have said they've never experienced in any years of their racing. So incredibly unlucky to miss out there. Those two could have been enough to really say to someone, it's not my year. You know what Joseph Newgarden does? He made it 3 pole positions from 3 poles at Mid-Ohio. And, wow. So he'd got pole at Detroit Race 2, pole at Road America, pole at Mid-Ohio, and the third time lucky he finally wins. He's now, I believe, 66 points off in the championship. He's in the 60s from there. Look, Joseph Newgarden is one of the best talents in the IndyCar series, and he continues to show why. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He is absolutely incredible. And if there is actually any of the guys that I see dislodging Palou from the top seat, it is Joseph Newgarden. I just believe that he's the man in form.
He's looking like so unstoppable at the moment. Like you said, 3 pole positions from 3 could have easily been 3 wins from 3.
And his next race is his home race in Nashville.
Yep. It's got a bridge.
It's got a bridge.
I feel like that always has to be mentioned in talking about Nashville.
Absolutely.
Even if it doesn't fit in anywhere, it has to be mentioned.
Absolutely. It's got a bridge.
But there we go. Joseph Newgarden.
Well, now we come down to 2 names that we haven't mentioned yet. And I don't know, Steve. His name escapes me.
There's someone.
Someone?
Someone spectacular.
Spectacular.
Someone special. Someone who's the greatest driver in the history of the universe.
Oh, wow. We've already done Scott Dixon.
Whoa! No! It's Pato Awards! Okay, maybe it's only my opinion. I'm not exaggerating or anything. Greatest driver in the universe. He's got his first... He's been fantastic. For a McLaren team that's still building, they think they're challenging for titles in 5 years. Pato says, I'm challenging for titles this year. He's got his first race win, 2 of them in fact, and a further 2 podiums. He's been pretty unstoppable at times this year. I would say his best moment was that Detroit race 2 with those 2 late cautions, and he was absolutely sending it on the restarts. Everyone else was struggling to tee up their tyres, but him and McLaren got them warmed up, and he had a masterclass of overtaking there. And obviously taking Newgarden with only a few laps to go. Heartbreak for Newgarden, but an incredible moment for Pato. And obviously his first race win in Texas race 2. Another fantastic performance there. Man's just been great. He's really stepped up his game. Last year, they was just so close and to that race win. And this year, we had Pelot winning race 1. We then had VK getting his first race win. It was like, is this going to be another season that Pato is just going to be so close, yet so far? And then no.
Pato says no.
He was there. Can he maintain a championship fight? That's going to be the thing to see in these last 6 races. It's going to be a struggle, and he's going to have to use everything he's got to send it.
I think with Pato, I think Arrow McLaren will just fall short. They're very much still learning themselves to being in this position of challenging for a title. They know how to challenge for the odd race win. They know how to challenge, and that car just keeps getting better and better. But I think it's those results out of the wins and podiums that are the most telling for me in terms of they've been really up and down in it. And I think that's ultimately that will cost Pato. But Pato himself, he's one of the best personalities on the grid. He's just a guy that you feel, if he stays in the series, is a guy that you're going to look back in 20 years' time and go, wow, what a career he's been and what an asset he has been to the IndyCar series.
Oh, yeah.
He's been absolutely superb. But a guy, they're going back to our predictions, and when we were saying there could be 7 potential different title challengers coming into the season. Well, Pato was there, Scott Dixon was there, Joseph Newgarden was there, Herta was there, and obviously dropped off. Pagano was there, Rossi was there. A name that wasn't there was Alex Pelot. Because the 10 car, since Dario Franchitti retired, has been a little bit of a curse within the Chip Ganassi team. They've had some great drivers in there, but it hasn't quite fallen into place for them. It hasn't really worked out at Ganassi. In steps Alex Pelot. Stephen mentioned it. First race win. Hello, Pelot! Announces himself to the IndyCar season, and winning that first race of the season, he has not looked back. He has been super consistent. He is out Dixoning Dixon.
Is that even possible?
Dixoning is a thing, and Pelot's doing it. He is Dixoning this championship, being consistent. Indy 500, spectacular performance in there. Really challenging Elio, and I believe if he had, if this was this time next year, I believe that he probably would have found a way to get past Elio, because he just seems to adapt to these challenges so easily. And this is a guy that before last year had never driven on an oval before.
Yeah.
He didn't do the Indy Lights Championship. He was in Super Formula. All his junior career was in the European Formula. He'd never driven on ovals. And we're talking his second Indy 500. He's almost won it.
He's almost won it.
And he was absolutely fantastic. He got his second race win in the season. And he's the guy that when title challenges fall short, like in Joseph Newgarden, obviously Road America was out with Joseph's chance. But Palou was the guy who started 5th and worked his way up in a position to claim that race win. And he just, last race out at Mid-Ohio, you were thinking this is a classic kind of Scott Dixon and I believe Alex Rossi, wasn't it, were fighting it out. In the position you're like going, oh, that's 3rd and 4th, probably settled whichever way it goes. Last round of pit stops, Palou has a worldie of a kind of in-lap and out-lap. He finishes P3.
Bam.
And extends his lead over both Dixon and Pato.
Like I said, he was
out-Dixoning Dixon. Unbelievable.
I'm never going to get my head around that.
No, but he's the last one to mention because Alex Palou, for me, is the driver of the season so far. There's 6 races to go. And if he can see this through, I've seen in an interview recently, he's even caught the eye of his Spanish compatriot, Fernando Alonso, saying that Palou is a phenomenon. And I believe that's correct. He's been unbelievable this year.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think 40 points clear with 6 races to go. It's come out of nowhere in his second season in IndyCar.
Yeah. And he went from Dale Coyne to Chip Ganassi. And, you know, you give this guy race-winning material and he delivers. And, you know, he's also one of the nicest guys, I think, in the paddock. I mean, he's been brilliant with us. He's even commented and taken the time to watch our videos and stuff like that. So, obviously, you know, Alex Palou's our favourite driver.
Yeah.
No, but then Scott McLaughlin has... Oh dear, Stephen can't do it. Come on, you got to do it. Do it for his thing. Play. Oh God, you'll win him round, Alex. But no, Alex is a superb asset to IndyCar.
If he's the one that beats Pato to this year's championship, I mean, I'll celebrate it.
He will celebrate.
He's one of the only people that I won't mind Pato losing the championship.
You can't not, again, you cannot love, a bit like Elio winning the 500. You could not be happy for Alex Palou if he does it because he's been brilliant this year and just as part of this young generation comes into IndyCar, it's such a breath of fresh air into the series. And it just makes you go, wow, Palou's in his 20s. VK's, in his 20s, Pato, Colton Herta, and you go 4 drivers there. And that's not even taking into account any guys who might develop and come in, through Indy Lights Championship or guys who come across as well from Europe. You just go, wow, what a great place IndyCar is if that is the future of the series. Those guys fighting for championships and 500s. Awesome. But we've still got some of the old guard there and some of the middle-aged people like Joseph Newgarden.
He's in his 20s. Come on now.
Newgarden?
Yeah.
He's 29.
Yeah, in his 20s.
Yeah, but we clarified this as like middle-aged, didn't we?
No, he's middle-aged. Jesus. What's Elio?
Elio's retirement home. But he won't go quietly.
He's retirement home. And
on that note, it's probably a good point to round off the top 10 as I've broken Stephen.
Oh my God.
Right. Apart from he keep injecting. He doesn't inject still. I'm going to stop here before I try and dig a hole. And from there, love you, Elio. Still can't believe it. Can't believe I've just put Elio Castro Neves in a retirement. Racing speaking wise.
Scott's not far off.
Well, yeah.
Don't say it. No, stop. Let's go to honourable mentions.
His family's looking for a retirement. Oh dear. Who knows?
Honourable mentions.
IndyCar's great. Drivers are great. Honourable mentions. Well, he led his first laps of the Indy 500 ever. His, home Grand Prix. It was just brilliant to see. Not Ed Carpenter, not Renus VK, but Connor Daly leading for Ed Carpenter Racing. The most laps in the Indy 500. It definitely deserved an honourable mention. A guy where things haven't really quite gone his way this year, but Mullet Man, Connor Daly.
All-American.
Definitely All-American. He just, again, continues to show moments of brilliance within the series. And if it ever came together properly, you know, Connor Daly is a kind of hell of a driver out there. And if he'd won a fight, maybe there's a chance of him winning a 500 in the future. But he definitely deserved, I think, an honourable mention for the most laps led at the 500.
Yeah, definitely. And the other honourable mention is Santino Ferrucci, or how you like to call him. Santucci. He's only been in a few races. 2 races?
3, I believe.
Oh, yeah, both Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Both Detroit and Mid-Ohio, just been.
Yeah, and then obviously the Indy 500.
He's been in 4 races.
Yep, correct.
He's been in 4 races, and he's been mighty impressive in all 4. He doesn't quite make the top 10 because he hasn't competed in all the races, but he's been absolutely fantastic in the races he has competed in.
And
especially jumping into a new team, new environment, coming in for one-off races here and there. It's been a solid try for him.
I think as we talk about that young generation, and there is plenty about Santino Ferrucci with a checkered past. And, you know, sometimes you can say that Ferrucci's temperament has got the better of him in situations, and he's done some things that are uncalled for. I mean, that's the polite way of doing it. What he did in his time in F2 was unacceptable.
Yeah.
But, you know, these are young kids. They make mistakes, and you can grow and develop as a person. And I think even more so, even from last year, Santino Ferrucci just appears to grow and grow as a person year on year. And if he was a guy that came back full-time in the series, it would be a great asset for IndyCar. And including him in those young talents, if you put him in competitive machinery, he definitely feels a guy that would be capable of winning a 500 in his time in the series. And, you know, you never know. I think he's probably, as this consistently goes on street courses and road courses, he's been brilliant. He could easily compete for championships if he goes, you know what, I am going to go full-time IndyCar again.
Yeah. See what happens next season.
We shall indeed. But that has been it. We've probably dragged on a lot, but, you know, we thought it was quite nice to have a good discussion about the drivers and their performances so far. And it's going to be fascinating to hear who you think are in your top 10, who gets honourable mentions from you. Probably Graham Rahal, actually, to be fair. He's in the top 5. He's been fantastic.
Here we go. Well, we need to leave someone else to do a Justice for Graham Rahal video.
Absolutely.
And then they can do their top 10.
Absolutely, as it comes around.
See, we allow content for people. Just like the race.
Sorry, Graham.
Let us do justice for Marcus. We'll let someone else do justice for Graham.
And on that note, we'll end things up here because we're a rambling mess as always, and things go off in directions that we never knew were possible. Like Elio Castro never's ending up in a retirement home.
Oh no!
Yeah, if you thought you forgot, I reminded, I brought it back. But let us know in the comments down below. If you're new around here or haven't done so already, what can they do, Stephen?
They can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it. So for now, you Indy fans, keep racing.